Hello friends, welcome to Young Wisdom. If you are new to this channel, I bring videos related to philosophy, psychology and religion. So if you are just new here, you are welcome and it'll be very kind of you if you could consider subscribing. And in return of your subscription, I'll bring interesting videos, I'll bring concepts related to philosophies, psychology and religion. Just recently, I had the privilege to speak to Sir Longland, Mr. R. Longland from the Longland Show. So where we organized a small dialogue and Q&A program where Mr. Longland was the guest speaker. And in the session, I was privileged to had a quick dialogue with him where we started by arguing on free will and determinism. And when I checked the comment section in the video, I saw a good number of comments on the argument determinism. Of course, it was not in favor of determinism. And same time, a few of my friends reached me out personally and asked me to make a full video bringing an argument in favor of determinism. And so I'll also look forward to make a video on free will so that we have clear concepts on both free will and determinism. So to start up, we will have a quick demonstration. Let's say I have a gold coin with me here. So each coin has two sides. We have head and tail. So when we flip, we are not really sure which side of the coin will we get, right? But if you're expecting head and you flip and you get tail, we may say that that's not a good luck. And if you're expecting good luck, then you will get the outcome as expected, right? So that's what we can certainly say when it comes to luck. But this demonstration will show you that luck is just an illusion. It's just an abstract concept or idea that we have in our head. Okay, so I flip again and then expected outcome is getting tail, but I get head. I do again and then I get tail. So we are not sure which side of the coin will we get when we flip. But if you really study the amount of force that you are putting in flipping the coin, and if you also precisely calculate the number of flips that occurs, then you can get exactly the expected side of the coin. So let's say I'll flip just twice, okay, just a two flip, and then I get tail. Once again, just two flips, and then I get tail again. So if you precisely calculate the move that you are making, and if you can precisely calculate the number of flips, and if you also being careful in the amount of force that you are putting in flipping the coin, that you will always get the expected outcome. So means nothing luck, right? Nothing comes out of luck, because there is a process that is happening. And this is the effect that I've got tail, and then the cause is the amount of force that I'm adding, and then the number of flips that is happening, right? So when there is a process, then nothing comes out of luck. So that is, luck is just an illusion as per the argument. So that is an argument that luck is just an illusion. That is a small demonstration. So similar to the idea of luck, free will, when it comes to free will, they are similar. Free will is also an abstract idea because we cannot measure free will. We cannot measure the amount of freedom that we have. We cannot exactly locate where freedom lies, right? Is freedom lies in our head? If we just part our brain, open our head and check where is free will, we will never find free will. We will never find the amount of freedom. And therefore, when we talk about free will, when we talk about freedom in our life, we have to ask first if we can locate where freedom lies in our life. Is it in the environment? Is it in the societal norms? Or is it just in our mind? If that's the case about free will, then free will is first option. It's either an illusion, like the idea of luck, or free will is a mystery, it's kind of enigma that we cannot really solve the problem, right? We cannot really understand. It's kind of a mystery. It's an enigma that we cannot fix and we cannot really solve the problem. So it's just amazing to our mind. Like we cannot really understand the concept. The good way to start this argument would be free will. Is free will just a concept? Is free will just an abstract idea that we have in our head and which does not really exist in reality? So that's a good way to start questioning. The arguments would go like this. First argument would always come of causation, where because the definition of determinism itself means that each actions or each effects are determined by some cause, right? So even in natural laws, anything that occurs has its cause. So that there comes the idea of causation. The words that I'm using, it has its cause, right? It has its cause. Why do I choose to defend the idea of determinism? It has its cause because the cause is that I find the concept of determinism compelling, right, and interesting. So that is the cause. So every thought processes and every action has its cause. In fact, according to neuroscience, 95% of our brain activities are unconscious. We don't really know what is happening. We don't really know what we are thinking. Right now, you are watching me speaking on determinism, but you don't realize that you are actually watching, right? And you have mouth. We all know that we have mouth, but we forget that we have mouth even. Right? We even forget that, see, I forget that I'm putting lots of actions as I speak. So each actions or every thoughts processes or every effect that is happening in and around our life has its cause. And so that is the argument of causation. And when there is a cause, when there is a process for each, so each effect is determined by one cause, then it is impossible to think of freedom, right? Does freedom really exist, right? You might say that free will is a necessity and it's a necessary concept, and it's true that it's necessary concept, right? Because human beings are value-driven species, right? So when we talk about values, free will is a necessity. But the question is, does free will really exist? That's a big question. When you read the book, The Genealogy of Morals by Friedrich Nietzsche, he used the example of eagle and sheep or a lamb, right? Harmless sheep or lambs are biologically constructed in a way that they are harmless to other animals. So they are usually the victims, right? So an eagle has no other option but to kill those harmless animals for survival, right? So we cannot really say that sheep are the good animals and eagles are the bad animals because they don't have other options, because for their survivability, they have to be that way, right? Sheep are naturally harmless and eagles are naturally harmful. So biology has constructed that way. So the next argument would come the idea of genetic predisposition. See, sometimes here's an example. There are people who lacks prosocial behavior. They act of kindness, their communication skills are low, social skills are low. Right. We might say that we have freedom to be that way. We have freedom not to be kind, and we have freedom to be kind. We have freedom to be sympathetic and empathetic towards others, right? But it does not really come as a freedom of choice. How it comes is because genetically, every human personalities are constructed by genes, right? Human beings are born as highly extrovert or introvert, right? Or very high in neuroticism and low in neuroticism. So personality, the types of personality is also a biological predisposition. So we say that we have choice not to speak to people. But what if you are constructed that way? What if you have that type of personality? You don't really have choice, right? That's not really a choice. Here's a simple example. You go to church and I go to church. We go to church every Sunday. And we might say that because I have freedom to go to church or not go to church, that's a freedom that we think. But that is not really a freedom, because that action of going to church also is affected by either intrinsic value or extrinsic value. Maybe because everybody is going, so you have to go, right? Being a Christian, we have to go to church. So it's affected by the extrinsic values, the ideas, the commonalities that we share in society. Intrinsic values, what about? Your thoughts and belief. You think that not going to church would bring a negative effect in your spiritual health. So those are intrinsic values, right, that you believe in. So you believe, your ideas, values always affects your action and thoughts. When those are the cause behind every effect, there's no really, like, we cannot really believe in the idea of freedom, right? So where is freedom of choice, or where is freedom that, like, where does free will lies? That is a big question. When we have mental time travel, so we all know what is mental time travel. Mental time travel means we have experiences of the past. So those past effects are present, right? We can go back, at least through, like, our mind can go back to the past, we can come back to the present, and we can also think about future, right? So your present, your thoughts and actions of your present is always determined by your past. So you can also somehow predict about future, right? So those mental time travel towards the future is also affected by your present. So even when it comes to mental time travel, we don't have freedom because it's always determined by something or the other, right? So where does freedom really lies? Where does the concept of free will really lies? So that is the question. And there is an old concept of conditioning in the, because conditioning comes out of the school of behaviorism, right? Behaviorism is that every thoughts and every part of our behavior and thoughts processes in our actions are conditioned by external stimuli. Let's say in the experiment conducted by Buffalo, so in experiment of classical conditioning, we see the salivation of dog, right? When a food is placed and the bell rings, then automatically the involuntary actions just shows out. So every behavior is affected by an extrinsic or external stimuli. So all of our behaviors and all of our thoughts are conditioned by external stimuli, right? Either it be positively or negatively, right? Let's say we go to class. I go to class every weekdays. First of all, maybe it's because I'm compelled to go to class because of my attendance, right? Because attendance matters. Or maybe I'm motivated by that intrinsic value, like I need to become that person, so I need to learn. So it's always conditioned by something. All of our actions and thoughts are conditioned by something. And when all of our thoughts and actions are conditioned and it has a continuous pattern, then free will don't really exist. So that is the concept. This is an interesting statement made by J.J. Rousseau. J.J. Rousseau put a statement this way. A man is born free, but in everywhere he is chained. We think that we have freedom to do things, right? We have freedom to help. We have freedom not to help. We have freedom to eat. We have freedom not to eat. But behind that, there is always a cause of that action. You want to love. Why do you want to love, right? You want to help somebody. Why do you want to help somebody? It's because your motivation behind that may be because the person is in need. Then your act of love and kindness, is it not determined by the condition of the person? Right? Because when all of our actions and thoughts are conditioned, then free will becomes just a concept. There are a lot of interesting arguments against free will in defense of determinism. I'm bringing a few layout on the arguments in defense of determinism. in favor of determinism. So as said, I will also look forward to make a video like this on free will, in support of free will, so that we will have very clear concept of both free will and determinism. So thank you for watching this video.